German black metal time, and this way we have a band called Agrypnie with the new album Metamorphosis. This is the sixth album by this German band that has been going on since 2004. But this is also a band that has changed its lineup throughout the years and quite a lot. So now the thing here is, at the moment, there is only one original member of the band present and everybody else has left the building. No, really, the lineup has obviously changed and there are different people nowadays than the last time I heard the band. This is also a band that doesn't really do the black metal the typical way, and I guess that's one of the reasons why this is labeled as post-black, partially anyway, on Metal Archives as well. Now, this is a peculiar album because it lasts for 68 minutes. That's quite a lot. And to be honest, so often, that is usually these lengthier albums have the problem of, maintaining the audience curiosity throughout the 68 minutes. I mean, if you have more than 45 minutes, you kind of start losing the grasp of the audience, unless you're really nailing it with the music. And to be honest, this album is no exception. First, a quick look to Agrypnie on Metal Archive site. 6 albums out, first in 2006 and now the latest 2021. This is actually a August 2021 release by AOP Records, pretty nice looking digi book. Now I think the last time I heard was the album Exit, the second album 2008 or so. And that was a really good album. But this is not, unfortunately, quite like that. Maybe it's because, the lineup has changed. Maybe it's for various reasons. I'll try to explain whatever is the case here. Now, like I said, this runs for some 68 minutes throughout 11 tracks. So that means most of the tracks are rather lengthy. And that means they're too lengthy for their own good. They are more about creating these atmospheric patterns which are not exactly catchy. So in case this album feels like quite of a drag here and there, it's for a reason. Now when you go through 5 minutes, it's more bearable, maybe even enjoyable. But when you have tracks going for 9, 11 minutes, it's more like, really? Why? Now most of the time this album falls what I would call kind of a background black metal. That is, not exactly boring, not exactly mediocre or stuff like that, but not really catchy. So when you pay more attention, you're more like waiting for things to happen. And I guess that's part of the deal here why this is labeled as post-metal stuff. Because some of the riffs are not something that is going on with post-metal. It's more about preparing you for the climatic moment that most of the time never comes. Now this album is also making this whole deal here even extra lengthy with having a 3 minutes of an intro, which is kind of skippable, with also ending with another 3 minutes outro, which feels more like skippable. And lots of these songs have just too much filler stuff, as if you have a car and you decided not to shut it down but let it like roll, like, not moving all the time. And you feel like, okay, like, let's get it going. You don't really need 9 minutes to do this stuff because you could use all the good riffs and, make it worth our time. But there are some really good parts, especially the tracks 4 and 10. These Am Ende der Welt, how do you say in German? Ein and zwei, I guess. Well, these are really good ones, and these actually remind me of Harakiri for the Sky, which is very, very good in the post-black metal department. Kind of a very melancholic, kind of getting deeper into your emotional level, and that's where this band really shines, having those moments when it's actually stirring up some emotions. But for the rest of the album, it's more about kind of hit and miss category. I mean, there are these great parts, then there are these boring parts, and the rest of the time it just goes in the middle. Not exactly boring, but not exactly great either. Given that this is 68 minutes of an album, I feel like if only 1/3 of the album, roughly, would have been taken away, this would have had more of an impact. It would be more powerful, rather than being this kind of a rubber band that you just keep extending. And feels kind of like drag here and there. Maybe you need certain kind of a mindset. Maybe I don't have it. I don't know. But for me, it feels like the band is just putting too much nothing in these songs. Like I said, it's not bad. Actually, the whole thing is pretty good. But you could probably remove that pretty good. But the word pretty before good. And this would be good if only this was more tighter. I don't know if it makes sense. Now, when it comes to production and vocals, they're pretty much solid, but then again, nothing really memorable. And I think that's the biggest flaw on this album. Nothing here is exactly memorable. Maybe except for those couple of tracks, which then again are really working for the favor of the album. Now, my final verdict, if I had to say, is that this is indeed a pretty good of an album. If you have to really have a score for that, I would say roughly 7 out of 10. So definitely quite potential to become a grower, but then again, I don't know if I have it in me for, give a 6 to 8 minutes of an album this element, this possibility of becoming a grower, because it would mean I would have to go through and through and through multiple of hours to only figure it out. It's not going to change. Now, originally I was going to give it a little bit a lower score, and then when I had these good moments, I was thinking maybe I'm just considering something wrong here. Maybe I should go for the bigger ones. And then when I gave it more and more time with this album, after the initial spin or two, I kind of became between those two. So best parts, good. The worst parts, mediocre. And the whole album in between. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but definitely worth giving a shot. Just be warned, now you know what to expect. Decent album for its length. So there you have it. Atmospheric black metal in the German way. Agrypnie with Metamorphosis. Take care.